So controversial rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine ends up getting assaulted at a gym. Let's talk about some of the details. My name is Jamahl Kersey. I am the principal attorney at Kersey Law, a boutique criminal defense firm in San Diego, California. In this video, we're talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine recently getting assaulted at a sauna at an LA Fitness. Now, I don't know about you if you work out, but I do like to work out. I've been working out since I was about 16 years old. It's something that I enjoy doing, something I haven't really been doing enough lately, but you know, that's a whole nother topic. But suffice it to say, once I get done at the gym, whether that's lifting weights or doing cardio, the steam room, going to the steam room is like the icing on the cake. It's the present that comes after, you know, the hard labor. And the reason why I bring this up is I saw that Tekashi 6ix9ine had been beat up in a sauna. And, you know, sauna and the steam room, they pretty much have the same function. You just pick, you know, one or the other. I prefer the steam room. But I could never imagine getting into some drama and getting into a fight in a steam room, let alone getting beat up the way he did. But this is kind of indicative of that whole saying of you get what you give. You know, the energy that you put out is always going to come back to you. And it just reminds me of interviews of, I saw that this guy would, you know, he just was over the top with the drama. And plenty of people who interviewed him, you know, were like, hey, you're moving kind of, you know, things are hot around you. You should probably pump the brakes on this whole thing. And he just really kept, you know, egging things on. And I would imagine that he is going to have heat around him for a long time. You know, maybe once things blow over, you know, in some years, maybe things change, but maybe not. You know, sometimes there's always somebody who wants to, you know, get some get back, even if it's years later. And, you know, that's essentially the bed that he made. And I don't wish harm on anybody. I don't like to see, you know, anyone get hurt. And, you know, you could say he didn't deserve to be attacked in that way, but it's also not surprising. And, you know, when we think about what had happened in 2018, you know, and this is what caused so much controversy, because Tekashi 6ix9ine, you know, he had testified in this federal case. He became the government's witness. He had been arrested, you know, for racketeering, firearms offenses, and drug trafficking. So he had been arrested along with 9 Trey Blood Gang members. And, you know, Tekashi 6ix9ine, he was facing a lot of time. He was facing a minimum sentence of 47 years in prison. And so, you know, and that's just a common theme. We see people get wrapped up, so they get arrested. They might be under investigation for some time. The police, whether that's state police or the FBI or feds, build a case against you. They take you down. Sometimes, you know, out the gate, people might snitch, but for others, it takes some time, right? Once they realize, man, I have no trial defenses. If I go to trial, I'm going to lose. I'm facing all this time, and they're faced with that hard decision. Do I give up these people, or do I stay 10 toes down, take my time like a man, all those different cliche sayings? And ultimately, Tekashi 6ix9ine in this situation, he decided to testify against, you know, his former associates. And in exchange, he got a lesser sentence, which is usually the case. And so basically he gave details about, you know, the gang's activities, specific involvement of individuals in other crimes, and, you know, pointed people out in court. And I've talked in other videos about how strong snitch testimony is, because when you have somebody who ran with you, whether that's for, you know, weeks, usually it's going to be months or years, who was doing dirt right alongside of you, or at least was there, you know, who better to be, you know, a witness than a person who is right there watching everything go down and can give the play-by-play in court. So, you know, and that's exactly what he did. But the controversy, I think, was, you know, just him taking the stand in the first place. But, you know, to his credit, if you will, he was in a situation where, you know, just months prior, he had been kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint. You know, so this went down in Brooklyn, and there were several people involved, including a lot of these guys from this blood gang. And so, you know, at that point, I mean, he was, you know, he's obviously in a difficult situation in terms of facing all this time. But then, you know, what would be the purpose, at least from his perspective, of being loyal to people who, you know, beat you up, threatened you with firearms, and stole your jewelry, stole your cash? I mean, you know, why be loyal to anybody in that situation? And so you have a camp, and perhaps it's a lot of fans of his, but, you know, there's people in general saying, like, why would I be loyal to somebody who, you know, treated me in this way? But I think one of the major problems is that this guy was never a gangster, right? This guy was never what he was portraying in these interviews, on these videos, in these rap songs. And a lot of times the lines get blurred, right? The lines get blurred between, you know, what is just a character and what is real, right? So who's really living up or doing the things that they're talking about in the music? And ideally, nobody is. You know, you're just a reporter, right? But, you know, there can be it's enticing to blur those lines as much as possible to make people think that you really are moving in the streets like that. And this guy just brought a lot of negative energy to himself. And so, you know, as an artist, you know, you want to be in the news for making good music, right? You want to be in the news for making power moves. You don't want to be in the news for getting beat up in a sauna, right? You know, and I don't know what his money's like right now. I know that he was making a lot of money, probably based on his social media profiles, you know, streaming numbers. He's doing crazy streaming numbers, touring, merchandise, all that kind of stuff. And it sounds like, you know, a lot of that has dried up because of what has been going on. So, you know, you would think that a guy who's had that much heat on him would be moving around with security. But I don't know if at this point he can afford security. I definitely don't want to be speaking on his pockets, but it would be wise for him to have security on him, or not being, you know, at a LA Fitness where, you know, where anybody could just run up on you, and anybody did. So again, you know, I certainly don't wish harm on this kid or anybody for that matter, but you do have to have some self-awareness, realizing who you are, the things that you've done, realizing that you'll probably forever have a target on your back, and move accordingly. So there wasn't a whole lot of information out there in terms of, you know, what the reasoning was and all that, but there is a guy that they're linking to this situation. It sounds like, from what I've heard, he just recently got out of prison, and this is the type of thing that will definitely send you back. You know, if this were in California, this happened in Florida, but if it were in California, this would be, you know, an assault by means likely to produce great bodily injury. Because if you saw the pictures, I mean, he had, you know, scarred up pretty bad. So there would definitely be a great bodily injury allegation, which is usually when you have, you know, broken bones, serious lacerations, you know, something beyond minor scrapes and bruises. And if you saw that video of Tekashi 6ix9ine, he looked beat up pretty bad. But again, you know, this is why you have to protect your energy. You got to make sure that you're, you know, making positive moves and staying away from the negative. But the interesting thing is, now that Tekashi 6ix9ine is back in the news, it kind of takes some of the heat off of Gunna right now, because, man, after his situation in court, that just really drove his stock down in a major way. And this is a lesson for artists who, you know, do street music and move with a street label. You got to be careful, because you could end up being associated with something that, you know, you're only rapping about, but there are people who are really living it. And when you're moving like that, you know, you're going to have to deal with some of the consequences that come along with that lifestyle. All right, that's going to be it for this video. So if you got something out of it, please show me some love and hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on those notifications so you never miss a new video when it drops. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.